And we are live. Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. Good to see everybody here with us tonight. So plenty of news coming out both from the takeover and revolving transfer news. A potentially very big outgoing, and that is David De Gea. All this will be discussed and more on this show. But first of all, some comments in there already. I can see Big T's down there saying loyalty means nothing in football these days. He deserves a better send-off for this, for all of his service, I think. I'm guessing that's in relation, of course, to David De Gea as well. Antony saying, Qatar in, get this man to 1k subs. Thank you very much for that, Antony. I appreciate it. And Big T is also saying we are not getting a top-class keeper, losing out on players because we will not and cannot get the cash in. It's infuriating. Completely agree. We are missing out on players. Kim Min-Jae potentially going to Bayern Munich. That's our first choice centre-back signing. Gone, off the table. But let's get started. Let's get started with the big one. This, of course, is going to be David De Gea. So, this basically broke all around about lunchtime today. Everything started with the Manchester United retained list. Now, of course, we do this every single season. Every club does. It's players who will be let go of their contract, players who will be in the squad for next season. David De Gea was not on the retained list. There was, of course, a side note which stated David De Gea is currently in contract negotiations with Manchester United. This has been ongoing for several weeks, several months. This has been a long time in the making, and of course, has emerged today from the Daily Mirror and from the Manchester Evening News. David De Gea could be leaving Manchester United. That is the big story tonight at this moment in time. So Rich Fair, Manchester Evening News, has said David De Gea is seen as increasingly likely to leave Manchester United this summer. So that's why I'm asking you guys in the poll tonight, should David De Gea leave Man United? The answers are yes or no. Very simple question. Let me know your thoughts down below, because this is a very divisive kind of question, because a lot of people like David De Gea, a lot of people respect him for the years of service and multiple Player of the Year awards. He has just won the Golden Glove as well. Of course, David De Gea, he does have severe limitations in his game. His passing isn't good enough. He doesn't come for crosses on a regular basis. So there are definitely things I think we can upgrade. I think David De Gea probably deserves a better send-off. But I mean, let's put ourselves in De Gea's shoes just for a moment. He is, what, 32? He has a wife now who lives in Spain, has never wanted to live in Manchester. He now has a family of his own. A move back to Spain would make a lot of sense. With United circling for Diogo Costa, for Andre Onana, this might be the perfect time for De Gea to move on. Now, of course, there are the links to Saudi Arabia. That will be interesting. Nobody would begrudge David De Gea. At the moment, the offer United have on the table is for a reduced wage package and no guarantees of being first choice goalkeeper. If he went to Saudi Arabia for a year, he'll probably make 100 million. And as we know, Saudi players get tax-free status within Saudi Arabia. So that could make a lot of sense for David De Gea as well. Who else is down in the comments? We can see Satwan Singh there saying, Glazers out and Qatar are on the way. That will be covered in just a little bit, because today big news did break regarding the takeover. Reuters, first of all, came out this morning. Now, they're the big financial institution. Those are the guys who came out last night and said that Sheikh Jassim had entered into exclusivity talks with the Glazer family for Manchester United. Now, they came out this morning. They doubled down on their statement. Do we believe Reuters? I think we have to. I think they will definitely be one of the more reliable sources on this. We're talking a very respected financial institution who research and properly look at every single thing they put out. They're not like a football journalist who nobody's going to go through them. They won't end up in court if something happens. I mean, if Romano came out and said United were signing Mbappe and it didn't happen, nobody's going to take Fabrizio to court to try to sue him. Reuters, they do have that pressure. They do have links, of course, to big financial institutions, the Wall Streets, the investment banking corporations. They have to make sure things they put out are truthful, well-sourced, and of course will stand up to big scrutiny, because it's people's money on the line. It's big banks' money on the line, and they don't take well to losing out on their money. But let's talk about David De Gea for a moment. On the poll, currently we have 69% of you guys are saying yes for De Gea to leave. 31% are saying he should remain at Manchester United. I think it all comes down to what David De Gea wants at this moment in time. Now, let's look at the stories breaking on this, because there's a lot to cover, a lot of interesting things coming out from different journalists, different media organisations close to the club. Now, they have said First and foremost, Rich Fair, Manchester Evening News says Manchester United remain hopeful of an agreement that can be found with David De Gea, but David De Gea does not want to be backup. I don't blame him. David De Gea has been first choice goalkeeper at Manchester United for 12 years. At this point in his career, if he loses the number 1 jersey, if he is a backup goalkeeper, he might never get that back. He knows he has to be the number 1 goalkeeper if he has any aspirations. I think it's ambitious. I think David De Gea is being ambitious here, and I think that's a good thing. I'm glad he is, because it would be very easy for him to sit back as the number 2 goalkeeper, sit on the bench, never play, and earn £200,000 a week. But he wants more than that. I think that's very good for De Gea, and I'm glad that he has that ambition in his career. I'm definitely think it is a good thing for him, and it shows that he does want to still remain at the top of the food chain. He wants to be that number 1. So, as well as that, Daily Times have come out and said talks have dragged on, and there are fears David De Gea may have played his last match for the club. Now, Times, Manchester Evening News, Rich Fair as well, the Daily Mirror. We're talking guys who will be going to Manchester United for their information. That's the biggest takeaway here, of course. It's the exact same. It's the exact same when we're seeing Reuters come out, because whenever we have guys like this, they go to the club for information. When Simon Stone goes to the club, they tell him what they want to be put out there. Manchester United are fearful David De Gea will leave, and it comes down to long term. It comes down to where we want to be as a club. I have been of the opinion for quite a time that David De Gea, at his age, I don't think he will ever get the level of possession, the level of distribution that Erik ten Hag wants in his goalkeeper. That's just my thoughts. He might prove me wrong, but I just think that with what's went down this season, the amount of criticism from the media, from the pundits, with Manchester United offering a reduced wage package, no guarantee of being first choice goalkeeper, Dean Henderson set to leave, I think Manchester United have offered David De Gea a place in the squad. I think they have said to him, we can offer you a place in the squad, but we will sign another goalkeeper. And if he wants to move on, if he wants to keep being the number 1 goalkeeper elsewhere, I think that's better for him, better for his career. And if he goes to Saudi Arabia, that's a life-changing amount of money. If he goes back to Spain, it makes a lot of sense. He will be closer to his family, where he grew up, of course, and I think either way, David De Gea will be pretty happy with what he gets in the end. If he gets a Manchester United contract, he will remain at the club, and he might still be the number 1. If he goes to Saudi Arabia, he will get a lot of money for going there. If he goes to Spain, he will be back with his family. I think in this position, David De Gea cannot lose, and I think that's why he's unwilling to compromise, because he knows he cannot lose in this situation. That's why he isn't compromising on a wage package. That's why he's not compromising in terms of staying on as the number 1 goalkeeper. I think he's in a very strong position personally, and I think he's playing his cards well. In his position, I would do the exact same. Who else is down in the comment? Jinwa is saying, Godflash, the disasters replacing us with a goalkeeper at last. So Jinwa definitely wants a new goalkeeper. I mean, we are seeing a lot of reports to goalkeepers, and we will look at them we'll have a look at them now actually as well, just when we're talking about David De Gea. So Ogogo, of course, Portuguese outlet, have said Manchester United are the main contenders to sign Diogo Costa. The process for his sale will accelerate after the internationals. Of course, the Nations League currently ongoing, so it will be interesting to see what happens there. After that, we might see some player movement. There are reports Manchester United are going to have scouts watching Rasmus Hojlund at tonight's match for Denmark against Northern Ireland. So I think something can happen. I think the internationals are at a very unfortunate time, because what United would want to do is get moving on the transfer stuff, get moving on the players coming in. That's what we want to get moving on. According to all sources, anyone credible, United are basically running business as usual this summer in terms of transfers, regardless of the takeover. And that's basically because of the Glazers. I mean, they have dragged this process out for so long that even if Sheikh Jassim won, or even if Jim Ratcliffe won, they wouldn't be owners until the start of next season. So we have to move on with the transfer stuff. We have to look after our own affairs on the pitch and hopefully get a resolution to the takeover very shortly. Jinwa is saying we bought a World Cup winning goalie and it ended up in disasters. I'm assuming that is Fabian Barthez, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great signing. I think it will be big. Whoever comes in, they have to be worthy. They have to have that mindset of being Man United's number one. That is the big thing. So whoever comes in, they cannot let the shirt weigh heavy on them. They have to be the right fit. I think a goalkeeper could be a very good signing for us. I've thought this for a long time. I think if we look at the difference, whenever Alisson came in to Liverpool and Man City, the difference they made was incredible. In terms of the distribution, fantastic. In terms of claiming crosses, sweeping up as well, playing higher up the pitch, I think that has helped those teams, help Liverpool, help Man City move further and further up the pitch. The first thing Pep Guardiola did when he took over at Man City, he got rid of Joe Hart. People in the media, they weren't for it. They thought it was strange. Joe Hart was still seen as a good goalkeeper at the time, but it was vindicated. And I think if we go and buy an Onana, go and buy a Diogo Costa, I think we will see within the first couple of weeks of next season that there are big differences in how we can play football and how we operate at the back, how we build up. And I think people will slowly start to warm round to the idea that it was the right move. Now, all things considered, we are going to move on to the big one. Let's get talking about the takeover. There are some updates to bring you guys. Nothing as dramatic as yesterday, but they are substantial nonetheless. So RMC Sport have basically doubled down on what the Reuters report had said yesterday. Now, for anyone who wasn't aware of it, if you were living under a rock yesterday, so basically the Reuters report came out round about lunchtime yesterday. They came out and said essentially Manchester United were in exclusive talks with Sheikh Jassim, basically over the preferred bidder status, which meant that Sheikh Jassim would enter into private negotiations for Manchester United with the Glazer family. Now, RMC have come out and they basically have doubled down on this. They are saying sources have confirmed the Reuters report. Sheikh Jassim is in the process of entering into exclusive negotiations with the Glazer family for the acquisition of Manchester United. Big report, and it's good to see. It's good to see other reports being backed up by different outlets. I think that's important. Whenever one person is screaming from the rooftops, something is going to happen. That's all well and good. But when we see other institutions, when we see other news sources coming out confirming those stories, I think that adds more credibility. It's better if everybody is saying the one thing as opposed to only one person saying something very loudly. And I think that is a big difference with this. In terms of other stuff coming out from the takeover, we have Faisal Islam, BBC Finance, BBC Sport as well. He has said Qatar are in pole position to buy Man United. Everything right now, Qatar, if everything stopped right now, Qatar have won. But we are seeing is this consistent idea of a message being sent out to Ineos. You have the opportunity to stop this and change our mind. That's a big one. That is a big one, because another Ineos bid, of course, what that will do is prolong everything. Everything will keep going on, and that's what we do not want to see. That's we want this. We want it sorted. We've had this for so long, and I'm sure you guys are completely fed up with it. You guys obviously want the takeover to be complete. Who else is down in the comments? I can see comments coming in. It's coming from Jason saying, if De Gea leaves, who is the backup? Tom Heaton? I mean, it might be. I hope that whoever comes in for De Gea is an upgrade. That's my big hope. I think if we go into next season with Dean Henderson as number one, Tom Heaton as number two, that's us in a weaker position. That's what we want to avoid. We want to strengthen the squad. Now, whenever we got rid of Ronaldo, we didn't strengthen the squad. Now, he had to go, yes, but we didn't strengthen. We brought in Weghorst. Take when Casemiro came in. Whenever Casemiro came in from McTominay, massive upgrade in terms of how we played, how good our midfield was. Huge difference was made by Casemiro coming in. We need someone with a similar impact. We can't go and do what Man City did. When City first got rid of Joe Hart, they brought in Claudio Bravo, who was worse. So we have to make sure we're upgrading on what we have. That's how we will improve as a team. That's how we will go out and get better on the pitch. And I think it's very important. Make sure that everybody you buy is an upgrade on what you already have. There's no point going out and spending a lot of money just to have someone of the same level or even worse. That's what we do not want to see from Manchester United. But any more thoughts, guys, get them into the comments. I'm running a poll as well, so let me know you guys' thoughts. Should David De Gea leave Man United? That is the question we are asking in the poll tonight. Currently, 61% of you guys are saying yes, and 38% now are saying no. Big T says Dean Henderson can't be trusted, slags us off, and gets rewarded with being number one. I'd rather they bought Veghorst and put him in goal. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think Eric Ten Hag will have seen that interview last season. I think Dean Henderson will be going to Nottingham Forest. I think that is all but a certainty at this point. Nottingham Forest willing to pay 25 million for our backup goalkeeper. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Sell him. We need the money this summer. I think sell Dean Henderson. I would sell McTominay. I would sell Maguire. You're probably going to raise 60 million if you do that, and that's a big difference. That is a world-class player. If we manage to sell those players, if we can add that on to what we already have, we will be in a much better position. Who else is down there? Ashade is saying, good evening, guys. Good evening to you as well. And good evening to everybody else all around the world. I'm sure you guys are tuning in, looking to know the latest on the takeover and the transfer stuff as well. So let me bring you guys some more. Let's talk about this takeover. So RMC have said the opening of exclusive negotiations would represent a considerable step forward in the Man United sale. Even if the process is long, it will not automatically lead to the sale of the club. Can't be surprised at that. I mean, that's no surprise whatsoever. It will be a long process. We know this. We know it will be a long, drawn-out process. Everything the Glazer family do is long and drawn out. He also done there. Rajat is saying, "Hi, what's up? Don't want Maguire to go. He makes watching him every time funny." I mean, it's probably funny for opposition fans. I mean, probably not for us. Look, I don't think Harry Maguire is a bad player. That's a controversial opinion enough. But I mean, in terms of what he does, he can do it quite well. He just has to play for the right team. Manchester United isn't that team. West Ham United, that might be the team. Maybe that's his level, I think. He also there, Rajat is saying, will you take callers? We're trying to figure out a way to do it, guys. 1 second. So it's very difficult to do on YouTube because there's a lot of stuff that I basically have to do that means nothing inappropriate is going to be said on stream or anything. But we do have a Discord, so I was thinking on Discord perhaps we could do some live shows as well. You guys can join in, call in as well, and everybody can sit and chat on it. So the Discord link is in the comments. That could be something we do until we figure out what to do with YouTube. If you guys are interested in that, of course. So any more thoughts, guys, get them into the comments. The poll is pretty split right now. A lot of De Gea fans in the comments, clearly. We have 58% of you guys saying yes to De Gea leaving, and 42% are saying De Gea should stay. Tom is in the comments as well. Do you actually realise that the Premier League financial results came out today? Brand growth revenue. No, I haven't actually seen that, man. Thank you very much for pointing that in my direction. I will check it out after the stream, of course. I think, if I am correct in saying, basically, because of the way that the TV deal has been redone, that clubs are getting paid more money now. So that's probably a good thing for new owners coming in. Rajat is saying Maguire is too good for the right team, and the likes of Leicester, Villa, Everton, West Ham, maybe. Yeah, absolutely. I think he needs to play in the right team. Harry Maguire, I mean, my grandmother could run faster than Harry Maguire, so playing him in a high-line team on the halfway line, that's not going to work. But if you're a team who sits and defends the penalty box and you need a big defender to head the ball out, I mean, Harry Maguire's your guy. He worked at the start at United because we were more of a counter-attacking team. The higher up the pitch we got, the more he got caught out. And I just don't think it will work for him long term. Rajat is also saying, not sure about De Gea leaving. Love this goalkeeper emotionally, but I don't want him to go. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of guys are kind of emotional about the idea of David De Gea leaving. For many seasons, David De Gea was the bright light of Manchester United. He did save us. We would have finished mid-table in those seasons, if not for De Gea, probably. Many Player of the Year awards, 2-time Golden Glove winner. He does have the credentials. I just think with De Gea, it's got to the point now where what we want to do as a club, where we want to be in terms of possession-based football, distribution, sweeping up in behind. I don't think David De Gea is best suited to that. Not at the moment. I don't think that he has that in his repertoire. I think De Gea is in a very good position. When we think about David De Gea, we're looking at a guy now who is basically coming into the last couple of weeks of his contract. He can either sign with Manchester United. His demands are that he remain the #1 goalkeeper. So if he stays with United, he stays as #1. If he goes to Saudi Arabia, he gets a lot of money. And then if he manages to go back to Spain, he's closer to his family. I don't think David De Gea can lose in this situation. I think he's in a very good position. I think he will be very happy with the place he is at with these negotiations, and he holds a lot of the power. And ultimately, if he leaves and Manchester United buy a new goalkeeper, Andre Onana, or go out and get Diogo Costa, I think that will benefit us as well. So it does look like it's a good position for De Gea. It might be the best thing for both United and for him if he moves on, but we will see what happens with eager interest, of course. Ashid is saying, watching the England-Malta match, so boring. I mean, anything with Gareth Southgate in it, it's always going to be boring. And no, man, I'm not watching the Ireland match tonight, Rizat. I'm on stream with you guys. I'll probably catch it after. I think that will be the plan. Big T says we don't have the other players to play Eric's way. It's not like a goalkeeper is the missing part of the puzzle. Sort the other players out before bidding De Gea. Thank you very much for that, man. I think I agree with you. I think there is a lot of parts still needed. I think one of the big things is playing out from the back. That's where it all starts from. I think, yes, a goalkeeper can really upgrade that, but I think we need another midfielder as well. I don't think Mason Mount is the type of midfielder we need. I think Caicedo would be perfect. Someone who plays a little bit deeper, gets the ball from the back line, moves it forward up the pitch. Between him and Casemiro, you have a very solid, very solid pivot in the midfield. You can play Bruno ahead of them, and that's a wonderful midfield. I think that will help us a lot more. I think a striker as well. So that for me is where we need to invest. 3 players. We need a goalkeeper, we need a midfielder, we need a striker. From there, anything else is a bonus. Those 3 positions, I'm going to call them non-negotiable, because we cannot go into next season with Antony Martial as the only striker. We cannot go into next season and the only midfield options we have are Casemiro, Eriksen, Fred and Scott McTominay. That's not going to do it either. And I think if De Gea leaves and Dean Henderson leaves, we're not going to play Tom Heaton. So I think that is another position to strengthen in. Whether De Gea stays or not, I would like to see us buy another goalkeeper for sure. He also forgot, Ashid is saying, I think he knows about leaving the club. Rosada is saying about this being close to find another team. I like Bayern and Milan. Is that Inter or SC Milan, man? And Big T says we won't get them, but I think we need 2 wingers who will cross. Rajat is also saying, why do United not quickly pay the fee? Get Lavia, if not Caicedo. I think Lavia would be perfect. I think you're looking at a long-term guy, a long-term signing. And at 18, not many players with as much Premier League experience who've done as well. Have another comment in there as well, coming from Tenzink, saying, if we sell these players, we would be getting easily 180 million. De Gea, Butland, Maguire, Teles, Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, McTominay, Fred, Donny van de Beek, Martial, Sancho, and Ilanga. Thank you very much for that, man. There is definitely a lot of players in there I think will leave. Let me just quickly run through your comment here. Let's see. De Gea, potential leaving, £20 million a year saved on wages. Jack Butland is gone. Harry Maguire hopefully will be gone. Eric Bailly, he definitely will be sold. Alex Telles, Brandon Williams, yes. Tuanzebe was released today. McTominay, yep, I think we'll sell him. I think we can get 25 million for him. Fred, I would trigger his extension and then sell him. Donny van de Beek, maybe Ajax wants him back. Maybe he could go for 10, 15 million. Martial, yes, depends if somebody wants to take the risk on him, of course, with all the injuries. I think that will be a big one. Jadon Sancho and Ilanga, I would sell Ilanga or loan him. I think Sancho's an interesting one. I think if a big bid came in for Sancho, anything over maybe like 60, 70 million, absolutely sell. I think he probably will be giving another season at Manchester United next year, but we will see what happens on that one. Tom is also saying you got to check it out when you can. When they got took over, the same with the Ring Group, the metrics and the analytics, its potential sale was 9 billion for Chelsea. That's kind of crazy, man. I think a lot of what's happening with the sale is going to be based on future value. It's going to be a speculation. This is what the Glazers think could happen in terms of their valuation. That's why they want 6 billion. At the moment, United's valued at about 2.53 billion in terms of stock price. But I mean, there's a lot of extra stuff has to be paid on that as well. Rijat is saying Man United are going to sign Kane or Kolo Muani. The team needs a lot more depth. Absolutely agree. More depth will be very important to Manchester United for the upcoming season. I think as well, Kolo Muani, and Hojlund, we've got two very, very good strikers there. But let's talk about other strikers as well, because we've seen all season, and for a long time, Manchester United want to bring in two strikers, one young striker and an experienced striker. We do have a solid link to an experienced striker, and that is Mehdi Taremi from FC Porto in Portugal, of course. Experienced player, experienced striker. I believe last season he managed to score 40 goals across all competitions. That could be an interesting signing. Porto want around 20 million euros for him. I think that could be interesting. If we went out and got Taremi and then managed to get Hojlund or Kolomouani, that's a big upgrade on Antony Martial and Wout Weghorst for sure. Who else have we got in the comments? Let's see. Rajad is saying United. De Gea got an offer from Saudi, didn't he? Yes, there is talk. Tentative interest is what the Manchester Evening News are calling it. So basically, Saudi Arabia are like, David, do you want to come here? We'll pay you 150 million a year or something. And he's thinking about it, as you would. I mean, if somebody offered you that much money, you have to think about it. Ashid is saying he's got absolutely nothing to prove. Big T says, imagine if Henderson and De Gea are let go and we don't attract a new goalkeeper, left with Tom Heaton and a youth keeper next season. I mean, that's what we want to avoid. I've said it on the show tonight. I've said it before. I think the most important thing is when you're letting players go, you have to upgrade on what you have. Otherwise, what's the point? We've done it many times. We've let players go, brought in replacements, and they haven't been as good. And let's avoid that. Let's make sure everyone we bring in is going to make this team better. That's the key thing here. And I think looking at our team last season, looking at the transfers, pretty much everybody Erik ten Hag brought in was an upgrade. Lisandro Martinez made the team better. Christian Eriksen made the team better. Antony made that right-hand side better. Who else have we got? Sabitzer came in, made the squad depth better for the last part of the season, of course. Malacia came in, give Luke Shaw some much-needed competition. So I think that's all good. I think the only signing you could say last season who was absolutely pointless was Martin Dubravka. Rajad is saying we'll take 65 million plus add-ons for Jadon. I mean, that's a good offer. I think if that much came in for Jadon Sancho, I would potentially take it. Rajad is also saying, look at Real Madrid getting Bellingham quickly and United begging, playing long ball for Mount. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Real Madrid operate at a different level, something United just are not capable of doing. I mean, I've said it many times, Real Madrid had the best midfield in the world. They had Modric, Casemiro and Kroos. They sold Casemiro, used the money to buy Tchouaméni. There's your replacement. They've still got Modric and Kroos, and they've added Bellingham, Camavinga, and Valverde. I mean, that's something United cannot do. That's something we need to get back to. He also said in the comments, let's see, Stefan's down there as well. So much work to do in this transfer window. It seems like we aren't even properly sorted. What a mess. I mean, yeah, absolutely complete mess. I think the takeover is really affecting us. Despite the talk that it's meant to be business as usual, I don't know. I'm kind of doubting it myself. Big T is saying, how many more seasons would you give Antony before improving, before cutting our losses? I think United need to improve massively this season. I would say with Antony, I would definitely think by this time next season, we will have a very good idea of where he's going to be at. I think first season, with injuries, with illness and stuff, he did miss quite a few matches. I think World Cup break maybe didn't help him. I think he did grow into it more towards the end of the season. He was a lot more involved in the build-up. He looked more direct, more confident. Let's give him another season. I think if Sancho gets 2 or 3 seasons, we definitely have to give the same to Antony. Still a young player. I think there is a lot of development in his game yet, things he needs to work on. But I think if we become a more balanced team, we will see more of Antony as well. I think bringing a midfielder in to play on the right-hand side, I think that will definitely help. Look at our team at the moment. It's so left-heavy. We've got Lisandro Martinez, we got Luke Shaw, we got Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Marcus Rashford, all on that left-hand side. That is a lot of players over there. Basically, for most of the season, it's only been Antony and Wan-Bissaka or Antony and Dalot on the right-hand side because Casemiro sits anywhere. So I think a small change in the system could get more out of Antony, but I will give him another season for sure. He also, we got in the comments, Tenzing is saying, what about Palhinha to Manchester United? I kind of like Palhinha. I think he's a good player. It depends. I don't think he starts ahead of Casemiro. I think he's a little bit too similar to Casemiro to play both players. But I mean, as a backup, he could be very good. I don't see him leaving Fulham, though. I do like the player. I like players who are quite aggressive as well in the tackle. Something about it's kind of like an old throwback in football, but I do like watching Palenya play. Tom is saying as well, Rabiot becomes a drag on future windows. It's desperate. More targets and less potential sales. The blood is in the water. Absolutely, man. I think Rabiot's potentially going to come in. We will see what happens. And Steven Larza is saying, get us Xavi Simons from PSV. Let's get Hojlund and Kim Min-Jae faster. Thank you very much for that. I'm a big fan of Xavi Simons. Brilliant season in the Eredivisie. Really came on a lot this season. Will be interesting to see what happens. In regarding his PSG future, I believe they have a buyback clause on him, so it depends if they want to exercise that or not. But one of the players you did mention there is a player who potentially Manchester United have lost out on, and that is Kim Min-Jae. Kim Min-Jae is going to Bayern Munich by all sources at the moment. So although Kim Min-Jae has originally expressed his willingness to join Man United, he now wants to join Bayern Munich, who are ready to give him a salary of 8.5 million a year and a quality sports project. That's kind of concerning. I mean, we thought that our project was a lot more appetizing, a lot more appealing to big players, but I mean, we are still not competing with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich will win trophies next season. Manchester United, we're not guaranteed anything next year. Rajat is saying, how about Thuram on the free agent deal? I think Marcus Thuram, I think that's a very good option. We're looking there at a guy 25, 26 on a free transfer, 15 goals last season in the Bundesliga for Borussia Mönchengladbach. French international, I mean, on a free, it doesn't get any better. And if we brought Thuram in, that would give us more of a budget to buy someone else as well. Tom is saying, and that's how we got walloped 7-0 with reliance on the left. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool just exploited the left-hand side. There was a lack of work going down there. Trent had a field day, Mo Salah had a field day, and they really did just tear us apart. Big T says, Antony only has 1 foot. It worries me that he's predictable coming in on his left. I want to see him behind a striker and get someone on the right who has 2 feet. Thank you very much for that, man. I mean, I do think he's overly one-footed. It's not a bad thing. It just makes him kind of limited. I mean, Iron Robin, for as good as he was, he only had the left foot. He only just cut inside and got goals off. Iron Robin, of course, he managed to get to such a level that even though you knew what he was going to do, you couldn't stop him. And I think Antony, I think he's a lot of work to do to get to that level. Irfan's down there as well. Good to see you, man. Saying Axel Diasi or Kevin Danso. I will probably say Axel Diasi at this moment, only because I have watched some of his clips just when the links came up and I've looked at the player a little bit. Rajat is saying, kind of want Rabiot, but he's more of a CDM number 8. Thank you very much for that, man. Yeah, I think Rabiot is an interesting player. Juventus had a very poor season, but Rabiot was definitely one of their best players. Definitely was very good across the season for Juventus. I think he could be a really interesting buy on a free, and a lot of it depends on what happens. Irfan is saying Taremi. Yes, we were talking about Taremi just a moment ago. I will go back to that as well because there is some more stuff coming through about Mehdi Taremi. So 20 million euros to sign him. We're talking an experienced striker, Iranian international. Season before last, he scored 40 goals. That could be a brilliant signing to bring in alongside a young striker. Absolutely brilliant. As a short-term option, you could be looking at a very good one there in Taremi. Stephen is saying we're always relying too much on negotiating player. Moreover, we are good at supporting good players in the market, and other teams just end up taking them. Yeah, I mean, that's a big frustration. I mean, we do tend to do that. People call us monitoring FC, watching FC, keeping tabs FC, and it's for a reason, because there are so many players we do go in for and we do not get them. It's frustrating. It's frustrating as anything. I mean, we see it all of the time. And I wish that Man United were more decisive in the transfer window and went out and just got our business done. We never do. It's always a circus. It's always dragged out till there's no more excitement. It's very frustrating. He also down there. Big T says, what if we bought Rabiot's mum? She's saying yes this time. I mean, that's interesting, man. As we know, his mum is his agent, and his mum has fought with managers and referees and sporting directors because she thinks Rabiot should be playing all the time. I mean, if he manages to keep his mum at home, you've got a brilliant player there. But it all depends. Tom is saying it actually takes a level of incompetence to have the worst non-Brazilian Brazilians in the world than Antony and Fred. I mean, yeah, Fred's an interesting guy. I mean, I think Fred could leave this summer. I think it will be interesting to see what happens with him in the long run. Will he leave Manchester United on a free? I think that's going to be an interesting topic. I mean, for me, Fred's a very good squad player, but I wouldn't have Fred as a starter in this team. I think we can do better, but he can do a job, no doubt about it. So let's have a look at some other transfer news coming in for you guys. So David De Gea, according to Rob Dawson, there has been tentative interest in De Gea from clubs in Saudi Arabia. He does have one offer on the table already, so it will be interesting to see what happens there. Irfan is saying Taremi plays in the Champions League, and Big T is also saying Mendes is desperate to find a new club for Neves. We should go get him. I think we could do worse than Ruben Neves. You got a very, very good player there, only 25, 26, a lot of experience. He's rotting away at Wolves. He's coming into his best years. I'm sure he will want a move that's going to get him some trophies, get him some silverware. Maybe we could go in for Ruben Neves. Ashade is saying as well, remember Kim Min-Jae hasn't signed any contract yet with Bayern and can still sign for Man United. Absolutely he can. That's a real possibility. Maybe we do still go out and get Kim Min-Jae in. I like the player. I think he would really improve us. I think when I was looking at him as a player, when I did the scout report, we're looking at a guy who is physically dominant, very good at sweeping up, and he is absolutely world class in terms of what he does on the ball. Between passing, dribbling, carrying the ball forward, you're talking about the most progressive player in the entire Italian league. So if he could replicate that form for Manchester United, that could be amazing. That could be absolutely brilliant for us. Who else is down there? Rajat is saying United board members like to play catch up. Fred is better than McTominay, absolutely. And Stephen says, let's get Diasi instead of Kim Min-Jae. Diasi is Man United caliber with a good height, good interceptions, and he would be good for us. I think that would be a good signing. I think Axel Diasi as a centre-back coming in would be absolutely brilliant, and he could learn off Rafael Varane, play alongside Lisandro Martinez, and you're looking at a very good signing. Rajat is saying, would take Nunes, Palhinha over Neves, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I think Matheus Nunes is a brilliant player, absolutely brilliant. And I think in terms of what we need, in terms of somebody to carry the ball through the thirds, there's very, very few players better in football at the moment than Matheus Nunes. And I don't know how Wolves managed to get these players, how they managed to bring them to the club. I know it's a relationship with Jorge Mendes that manages to get them these unbelievable Portuguese players. But I mean, hopefully maybe we can get on it. Maybe we can get on that and get Matheus Nunes. That's what I would absolutely love to see. But guys, we are currently running a poll in the comments. Anybody who hasn't voted, we are asking you guys, should David De Gea leave Man United? Now the options at the moment, yes and no, and very, very split vote. 52% are saying yes, whilst 48% are saying no. So obviously you guys, some De Gea fans in, some De Gea outers in the chat. As always, I did expect it. It's a very divisive topic. It's not like asking you guys, should the Glazers sell United, or do you want Sheikh to Sim, or do you want Jim Radcliffe? I think De Gea is a guy with a lot of emotional attachment in the fan base. A lot of people remember all the good things De Gea did for us over a very long period of time. I mean, he kept us in a lot of top four races. He made some incredible saves. Won a lot of Player of the Year awards. We also won 2 Golden Gloves. David De Gea, certified Man United legend. Most clean sheets for a goalkeeper, most appearances for a goalkeeper. 12 years David De Gea has been our number one. So I do get the emotional attachment. I do know why you guys like to see David De Gea at the club. So let's see who's in the comments as well. Jinwei is down there. And for me, it has to be Onana or Costa. I think we got 2 brilliant goalkeepers there. Between Onana, between Costa, either one of them would really improve this team. I think Onana is an interesting one when we consider he has worked with Erik ten Hag before. But of course, there was talk that they had a fallout over Onana getting a ban for a very long period of time. Irfan is saying, is Qatar coming today? Potentially. We could see something this weekend. I would expect to see more developments and more things happening across the week. Will certainly be a very interesting time for Manchester United. Rajat is saying, how about El Nasseri? Another good player for sure. Plenty of comments coming in as well. Let's see who else have we got in the comments. Rajat is saying we could have kept Smaldini over Maguire. I mean, fair play to Chris Smalling. I've a lot of respect for anybody who goes abroad as an English player and does well. Chris Smalling's done it. Jude Bellingham has done it. A lot of respect for those guys. Who else is down there? We got Richo as well saying, evening, RIP Gordon McQueen. Saw him play for Leeds and Man United at Goodison. Thank you very much for that. Of course, very sad Manchester United cult hero, FA Cup winner, Gordon McQueen did die yesterday, of course, so rest in peace to him and sympathies to his family. Of course, player my dad remembers watching very well for United back in the 1970s, 1980s, and he always said he was a very good player, and he had a very, very good quote, and I'm sure you guys will love this. Gordon McQueen said, 99% of players want to play for Man United, and the other 1%, they're just lying. So, RIP to him, proper United hero, and sympathies to the family, of course. Rajat is saying he got us top 4 for many years. David De Gea, of course he did. He did very well. I mean, there was at one point David De Gea was probably the best goalkeeper in the world. I don't think he's at that level anymore. I think I've said it at the start of the show. David De Gea is in a brilliant position, personally, in terms of this negotiation. Either he stays at Man United, gets a good wage package, gets to be part of an exciting project, and remains the #1 goalkeeper. That's what he's asking for. His other options are to go back to Spain, of course, where his wife lives, where his children live, and settle down as a family. Or he can go to Saudi Arabia and take a massive, massive pay deal. So David De Gea, I think no matter what happens, he will be very happy with the result. Brian is saying he's done a lot, but of late he's costing us too many points. Thank you very much for that one. I wouldn't argue against that either. I think a couple of times last season, very disappointing in terms of his overall play. Making some poor mistakes. I mean, the one against Sevilla really stood out. I mean, you could have picked the first one as well against Sevilla, but I think De Gea, I think perhaps he will move on. We will see what happens in the long run. Definitely in the next couple of weeks will be interesting to see what happens. Tom is saying it's disrespectful for us to try offer the Golden Glove winner terms at half price. Foreign clubs are free to discuss in January. The goalkeeper is the next one. Sorry, to keep the ball out of the net. I mean, yeah, that is the first job of the goalkeeper. That is the top and bottom of it. But I think if we want to see more progression, I think we need to see the goalkeeper playing out. I think look at the difference we see at Liverpool with Alisson, at Man City, of course, with Ederson. Even with Arsenal, they have, of course, Aaron Ramsdale has helped them playing out of the back. Chelsea, Kepa has come back in instead of Mendy, and they're playing out of the back. We see this across the pitch. I think if De Gea leaves, it will be sad, of course. We're talking about the last player from the Sir Alex Ferguson era leaving the club. We're talking about a proper club legend leaving the club. I don't want to be disrespectful to the guy. Irfan is saying as well, Jackson Jackson from Villarreal is an interesting player. We've seen links to him. I think it was Chelsea, perhaps interested at around 30 million, but you're looking at a good striker there. No doubt about it. Could be a very different player and could be someone we're not seeing. Of course, Atalanta are apparently asking for £85 million for Rasmus Hojlund. I mean, I'm not going to pay that much money for a guy who scored 10 goals last season. I think if we get Hojlund for 40, 45, I think that's a fair price. That way you're getting a guy based on how good he could become and based off the season he just had. Rajad is saying, not been great though. David De Gea has been good. Look at Onana. I think Onana would be brilliant for us. I know a lot of you guys want to sign Onana, and it could be interesting. I think it definitely would help us in the long run. Let me just see if I've got anything in the notes on Onana. I know there was links, of course, earlier on. Don't think we have anything in Onana down there in the notes at the moment to talk about. But in terms of Costa, yes, Diogo Costa could be another option for Manchester United. Let me see, what else have we got down here in the notes for you guys? Yeah, here's an interesting one, and I'm sure you guys are going to laugh at this one. So Disco Mirror of the Daily Mirror, of course, has come out and said Man United want to buy Victor Osimhen for £80 million. I don't know how to break it to the guy. If Man United think they're going to turn up to Napoli, offer £80 million and buy Victor Osimhen, they might get his left boot for that much. Because Napoli are asking for 150 million. I mean, it's never going to happen. Irfan says number 9 first, and Stephen says it's time. If go for Diogo Costa better than Onana. Thank you very much For that, I think you've got two top-class goalkeepers there. Really do. I think Diogo Costa as the younger option might be the long-term one that we go for. If it comes down to similar pricing, let's see what happens. Inter wants 70 million, apparently, for Onana, so we will see what happens long-term with that. Brian is saying as well, Man City wouldn't have won a treble if De Gea didn't give away a second easy goal. I mean, yeah, it was frustrating. I was actually more frustrated with the first goal because he seemed to duck down from the ball. I think he thought it was going low and it went high. I mean, yeah. But Man City wouldn't have won the treble if Arsenal didn't have the biggest bottle in Premier League history. So that is another thing to consider. I think all things considered, I think goalkeeping will be a position we look to strengthen this window. But as Irfan said, number one position has to be the striker. We need a striker. We need a number 9. Absolutely. Rajat is saying whole team was very bad in the FA Cup final. I don't think we played well in the FA Cup final. I think we did try to play a safe game. We tried to sit back and defend and not get caught out. I think it worked. I mean, Man City didn't get a lot of chances. The first goal, that was a 1 in 1,000 goal, and the second one, De Gea should have saved it. I mean, other than that, City didn't really make any top level chances, but we didn't make enough going forward either ourselves. So that was unfortunate. So, in terms of a striker, I'm sure you guys will be interested. We do have one link come up today. So this is regarding Rasmus Hojlund. This is coming from Danish sources, and they've said Man United will have scouts at the match tonight to watch Rasmus Hojlund play against Northern Ireland. That will be interesting. I'll probably watch the highlights after this because I like to watch the NI matches anyway as well. He also got down there as well. Is it Walu saying we need the best striker? Absolutely. I think we need a top level striker, and I've said this before. Now, Manchester United last season, we created a lot of opportunities, a lot of them. Bruno Fernandes had the most big chances created in the entire Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne had about 5 or 6 big chances less than Bruno, and he got double the amount of assists. De Bruyne got 16, Bruno got 8. We are looking there at one guy setting up Erling Haaland and the other guy setting up Wout Weghorst. That was the big difference there. I think, I've said this before, if we go out and buy Harry Kane, he will score more than 35 goals next season. But if we go out and buy Gonzalo Ramos or Hojlund or Kolo Muani, they'll probably score 20 plus goals. So then you're talking about a guy who's a lot younger than Harry Kane, will be here for longer, and they're still scoring 25 plus goals, and they will continue to improve. And I think that might be the long-term solution that we go for. Rajat says Man City's second goal was a gift. Absolutely. Brian is down there as well. Shuggy Jubilee, please give us light on the takeover by the Qataris. Big T, big bit of trivia. Gordon McQueen played with another Gordon for us. Who was that? Was that Gordon Strachan? Let me know if I got that one right, man. Vivian is saying as well, enough of Man United fake news. Tell us the truth. Every day we hear the same thing. I mean, it's not really fake news because it's not my news. I mean, I'm just reporting on what comes out. And unfortunately, a lot of the news can be repetitive. What basically happens is Man United get linked to a lot of names and we sign 5 or 6. That's what happens. So it's not fake news. It is genuinely just the news. So we just report on it if we think it's going to happen or coming from a reliable source. He also got down there, Irfan is saying new transfer news. Tom is saying, so Hojlund scores a hat-trick, adds more money to the value. Rajat says 15 goal range, 15 to 20. And Big T says it was Gordon Strachan. Yes, so I think one of you guys were asking for some takeover news. So let's go back to the start of the show. Let's see what we have on the takeover. So RMC basically have come out confirming the Reuters report from yesterday. Now, Reuters doubled down, so that's good to see. They're not backing out of what they were saying with Sheikh Jassim going into private negotiations, which is good. And they're basically saying that there's a very good chance that we go into private negotiations. So sources have confirmed the Reuters report. Sheikh Jassim is in the process of negotiation with the Glazer family for the acquisition of Manchester United. Rajat is saying Rio has confirmed it. Irfan is saying younger number 9 will come very good. And Lucky is saying, hi Stefan, good to see you, man. Thank you very much for joining in with us tonight, of course. And Rajat says Napoli's bid will call the cops on United for 80 million. Absolutely, man. Napoli probably wouldn't open the front door for 80 million pounds. We might get his left boot, and that's about it. So in terms of other takeover stuff, let me bring that for you guys. Anyone who did miss, Faisal Islam, BBC Finance, BBC Sport has come out and said the Qataris are in pole position to buy Man United. If everything stopped right now, Qatar have won. But what we're seeing is a consistent idea coming out that if Jim Radcliffe and Ineos put another bid in, it would have to be considered. Let's hope that doesn't happen, for the simple fact of I'm sick of the takeover. That's basically the top and bottom of it. I just want it done. I want to move on to the real stuff, onto the football again, onto the transfers. You guys want to know about transfer news. We want to watch the football. We don't want to be sitting looking at the stock market all day thinking, is the stock going up 5-10% today? Is it going up by $2? Oh, what's the volume of shares sold today? Who's buying the shares? We want to know, are United going to win the next match? Are we going to go and buy a striker? That's what we want to know. We don't want to know that the Glazers are thinking about Sheikh Jassim's bid for the 255th week in a row. We want to know that United are sold and that we're moving on. That's what we want. Tom is saying Gakpo is the one got away from me. They're negotiating nothing. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Gakpo's frustrating. It is dragging on as well. Sorry, actually, I'd absolutely agree. Really dragging on at this point. And unfortunately, there is bad news for you guys. Laurie Whitwell, Athletic, managed to confirm that it's going to take another 8 to 12 weeks. So we're looking at potentially September now for something that started last October. So we will have had 1 year of this. Do you guys remember when it first came out? It was the same day Ronaldo announced he was leaving Man United. And everybody thought we were going to be bought by Dubai. And it all came out in like December, and it was like, oh, Dubai are going to buy Man United by the end of February, and everybody was excited. And then nothing happens, and months and months and months later, finally they are considering a bid. I mean, come on, man. The grade of these guys is incredible. The grade of the Glazers is something that is legendary. But yeah, any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments as well, and keep voting on the poll. I'm asking you guys, based on what we have come to know today regarding David De Gea's contract, should he leave Man United? Yes or no? At the moment, 58% of you guys are saying yes, whilst 42% are saying no at the moment. Lucky Singh says no more UK out. Rajat is saying no to Radcliffe, definitely. Don't care about Gakpo going to Liverpool. It's not like he was the next Ronaldo or Messi. I mean, I think Gakpo will be a good player for them. I think we can do better, but I think he will be a good player. For the price he was going for, I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad signing, but I think we can do better. So RMC are further reporting the opening of exclusive negotiations could represent a considerable step forward in the United sale. Even if the process is long, it will not lead to the automatic sale of the club. So it's annoying, guys. It is infuriating at this point. I'm sure you guys are as fed up with it as I am. Everyone is saying it's dragging on. We want those guys gone. We want them done. Rajat is saying get it done by March and April. Absolutely, that's when we were told. We were told by the end of March it could be agreed. By the end of the season, new owners will be here, and here we are. Transfer window opened on Wednesday. Glazers are still here. They haven't accepted any bids. Half the time, Sheikh Jassim and Jim Radcliffe are in the dark, not knowing what's going on with their bids, and it's not good at all. It is so frustrating. Ashid is saying even Sheikh Jassim takes full control of United. 6 billion is too much money. Transfer and a lot of paperwork involved. Absolutely, and it will be a big process for Sheikh Jassim, but make no mistake about it. From everything we've learned in recent days, it will be even longer for Jim Radcliffe, and that's because he needs to borrow money, he needs to get bonds, he needs to sell some of his assets. That will take even longer going down that avenue. And of course, as well, there was threats by United shareholders, big investment banking corporations, who own a lot of United shares traded on the public market, that they might take the Glazers to court if they cannot negotiate with Radcliffe over a price for their shares down the line. Maureen is saying bring in Onana to replace De Gea. Thank you very much for that. Absolutely. I think he'll be absolutely brilliant. Rajat is saying we are napping. Yes, we are sound asleep in the transfer window. Come to no surprise to any of you guys. And United Till I Die is in the comments as well, saying, I hope you're well. Thank you very much for that, man. I am well. How are you doing this fine Friday evening? Wherever you guys in the world are, thank you very much for joining in with us so far. And if anybody wants to support the channel, please consider hitting that sub button. We are getting very close to 1,000 subs, and that could be an amazing achievement for all you guys. Community is growing. It's great to have you guys with us every single day across the summer, and plenty more stuff coming up. We need Onana to replace De Gea. I think Onana would be a brilliant signing. I think you're looking at a guy there, very comfortable with the ball at his feet, claims crosses, very good shot stopper. He even comes out of his penalty box dribbling sometimes. The man is confident with the ball at his feet, absolutely. So, for anybody wondering, England are currently 3-0 up at halftime against Malta. We can't be surprised at that. I mean, Malta's got what, like a population of 100,000 people? Maybe less. I mean, England will just walk into the European Championships. Make no mistake about it. On that one, I do think it's interesting though. Something I do want to bring up with you guys is Man City are letting Kyle Walker go. Kyle Walker lost his place towards the end of last season, and they're letting him go. That's a level of ruthlessness I think United needs to have. We hold on to players for far too long. We keep players for far too long. He shouldn't still be here. I mean, Phil Jones has been at this club for over 12 years and is finally leaving now. I mean, there are levels to this game. Man City are ruthless. I think we need to be ruthless as well. If Man City would have already got rid of Harry Maguire, they would have got rid of McTominay, would have got rid of Martial, but we've kept these players on for a very long time. I think we need to be that ruthless. But let me know what you guys think down below on that one. United Till I Die says, sad to see Dave leave. If it's true, truly a fighter who served United proudly. Yeah, I completely agree. It will be sad to see him go. I think we're looking at a guy, a proper legend of the club, and it will be unfortunate if he does leave Manchester United. But I think that it's probably the best for all things considered. I mean, Man United can go and buy a goalkeeper who will fit the system. David De Gea can go and either go to Saudi Arabia for a lot of money, or he could go back to Spain and settle down with his wife and his children. So I think there are ways in this situation where everybody can get a good deal. Absolutely. Rajat says, countered can Guff. Lucky Singh says Maguire and McTominay, sell these guys next. Yes, absolutely. I think selling Maguire, selling McTominay, you're probably looking £40 million, and we could add that to the budget. We could take the budget to over 150 million then. And if we sell Elanga, Donny van de Beek, Fred maybe, you're talking £180 million as a budget, and that's a lot better than what we have so far at Manchester United, and I would feel a lot more confident. That way we wouldn't be worrying about Mason Mount costing 50 million. Is that going to be half of our budget gone? We would then have money to invest in the rest of the squad. Be ruthless. We're going to need the sales this season. It has to be done. It's now or never for these sales. Very, very important. And I think a lot of players will be going. Henderson, Maguire, McTominay, definitely. Van de Beek, probably. Martial, probably. Elanga's another one. Alex Telles, Eric Bailly. Who else have got? There's probably more. I say Brandon Williams. I mean, plenty of people could be going. Rajat is saying Onana's okay with his foot. I can't tell from one game. Wale is saying we need Qatar to take over. We want the return of Manchester United. And United Till I Die saying I agree as well. Thank you very much for all those comments. Any more thoughts, guys? Keep getting them into the comments. Poll is running down below as well. So we are saying, should De Gea leave Man United? 57% of you guys are saying yes. A very split vote. Very, very split. Normally, you guys are very... everybody is voting for one thing. Normally, we ask, should Sheikh Jassim be the new owner? Or should United buy Harry Kane this summer, or something like that. This is a very split poll, so I think there is a lot of emotional attachment to De Gea, a lot of De Gea fans, and I completely understand it. I completely agree, and I know why you guys think that way. And for a long time, I was the biggest De Gea fan going as well. Ashade is saying 92 Foundation Arena, here we go. And Lucky Singh says Maguire, Martial, McTominay, Alex Telles, Eric Bailly, first get these guys out. Yes, completely agree. That could be a good start for the transfer window. Get those sales in, boost the club up, get us some more money to spend on better players. I mean, put it this way, if we sell McTominay and Maguire for 40 million, We sell Dean Henderson for 20 million as well. So that's 60 million. We can buy a world-class player with that. We can go out and buy a genuine top-level midfielder or top-level centre-back, a new goalkeeper maybe. That improves us a lot. Then we can use the 120 million pound budget to go and buy a top level striker. I think that's how we have to work this. We have to be smart. We have to be ruthless. We can't be sentimental. Big T is saying, it's scaring me that Oxlade-Chamberlain is out there available for free. Our club is mad enough. I mean, yeah, I'm surprised we didn't go for James Milner. It is Manchester United. Now, I'm sure you guys might have seen this. I want to know what you guys think. So, Darren Fletcher has 2 kids currently at the Man City Academy, and David Ornstein has come out tonight. This is really interesting. David Ornstein says United are going to spend a lot of money to buy Darren Fletcher's 2 sons from Man City. Considerable amount for 2 youth players. One of them is currently playing for England's under-18 team, and the other one plays for the Scottish under-16 team. Does that scream nepotism? Does that scream jobs for the boys? Let me know down below. A lot of people aren't happy about it. Why Darren Fletcher as United technical director, why his kids are at Man City's academy, it does show that a lot of people inside football know that City have a better academy than us at the moment, and that's because of the way the Glazers have failed to invest in the team. We've seen United women's team, their best player left today as well. I think it's Alicia Russo. I mean, across the board, this club is not doing good, and I think it's really interesting. So United bidding for Darren Fletcher's sons, Jack and Tyler. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. But let me know what you guys think on that one. Any more thoughts, keep getting them into the comments. Rajat is saying Kim is not confirmed to any club. Not yet. It does look like Bayern have made progress, but it will be interesting to see how that goes down over the next couple of weeks. We definitely will find out much more. On that one, who else is down there as well? Let me just get this in the comments. You guys can see it. It's coming from David Ornstein and The Athletic. Very, very reliable source. Who is down there? Comments are actually going crazy as well. Let's see. Tom is saying it's a business sense with Radcliffe. You're missing the point. If he wins, just releases new bond through Ineos through his own private shares, it will be the vehicle to buy the club. Absolutely, it will come from his company. There will be, of course, there probably will be bank loans. We did see that he had recruited the help of Goldman Sachs at JP Morgan Chase back in February to help with his bidding process. So I think it will be interesting. I think Radcliffe, whilst he might not have the cash on hand, he certainly has he has the assets for it. He does not have the liquidity that Chik Jasim has. Jasim has the money pretty much in some sort of bank account in Qatar that he can pay for it. So I think it will be interesting to see what happens. Lucky Singh says, get yourself Vlahovic and Hojlund. I think either of those players massively improve us. I would probably go for Hojlund out of the 2, but I think Vlahovic will be very good as well. Big T says his kids could be at Man City because they're not good enough for the United Academy. I mean, that's an interesting one. It definitely could be. It could be interesting. I think it's strange that we do want to play a fee for these guys. I think what is interesting is a lot of ex-footballers, a lot of former players have their, even United players, have their kids going to the Man City Academy. We heard of it, of course, with Robin Van Persie, one of the first ones, Darren Fletcher's sons now, so it is interesting. Rajat says big favoritism, and the chat is going crazy. Yeah, it is going absolutely mental. You guys are loving the chat tonight, and I love doing the streams with you guys. Honestly, so I much prefer this to doing videos and stuff as well, because it's about the interaction. It's about you guys as well. I mean, without you guys, I'm just sitting talking to my camera, and yeah, I really appreciate all the support. Anyone who does want to join in with the amazing community on the channel, feel free to hit that sub button. Helps us grow on the channel, getting very close to 1,000 subs. I think it was Antony said it at the start of the stream. As well as that, we are running a channel Discord as well, so completely free to join. You guys can hop on there, chat amongst each other. I'm in it pretty much every day. We put up the regular transfer stuff. We also put up any club news, any channel news, and we'll even do we will try to do video call-ins as well, maybe audio calls in the chat rooms. Something we can do will be really good for you guys, of course. Who else have we got down here? Wally is saying we need a top-level centre-back and a top-level DM to support Casemiro and a top-level striker. Thank you very much for that. I agree. I think Sir Alex Ferguson was a very big believer in strengthening the spine of your team, right down the middle. So having a top level striker, top level midfielders, top level centre backs, and a top level goalkeeper. The wings, the fullbacks, they're arguably not as important. I think United are well stacked in the wings anyway. I think at left back, Malacia and Luke Shaw, you've got two very good left backs. Right back, Wan-Bissaka and Delo, two good right backs. Looking at the left wing, we've got Rashford and Garnacho, two very good options. On the right, we have Sancho and Antony. We have two players there who should be very good options. They need to do more. If they do more, much better balance to the team. I think the midfield will be important because we want to press more. I think striker will be important. We need those goals. I think another centre back to come in if Maguire leaves, because otherwise we only have Lindelof, Martinez and Varane. As we know, Raphael Varane can get injured across the season. So if he got injured, we would have no backup. We would have no one else to come in alongside Lindelof. So it's important we get another centre back. And of course, if David De Gea leaves, we do need him as well. Who else is down there in the comments? Plenty are going through as well. United Diasi says Jim can't even take care of Nice, let alone United. No to Jim. Thank you very much. I think Nice is an interesting study. It's very strange to see a club captain come out and speak against the way the club is being run. Big disconnect between the fans. I don't think it's all Radcliffe's fault. I don't think he is actively running Nice. I think it is the directors, the board and stuff, but he would be responsible for them. So Nice probably will have some boardroom changes this summer, we would imagine. Saglo as well. Man United transfers can't be predicted as per now because the Glazers are not making any sense in the takeover saga. I mean, yeah, the Glazers do not make any sense in any saga. Absolutely, man. Hey, also we got Rajat is saying, will Frimpong come? Let's go get him. And Larkin to come chat. I mean, I would like Frimpong. I don't think he's an essential signing. I think if we had the budget, maybe next season we could try to upgrade on Delo or Wan-Bissaka with Frimpong. But I think for the moment, with what we're working with, I think we should just stick with Wan-Bissaka, stick with Delo. They're not a big problem in the team, and we have bigger issues to sort out. Absolutely. Kevin is down there saying, Man United will not buy any world-class players as skeptics. We'll see what they do instead. They'll get third-rate signings, and we just have to make do with this. I mean, there's definitely a lot of Plan B, second-choice signings. That is something definitely happening. So I do agree with that. Whether or not they're second or third rate, it all depends. I mean, Lisandro Martinez was second-choice centre-back signing. Casemiro was second-choice midfield signing after De Jong. So I think second choices still can be very good, but it's whether or not they improve the team. That's the big thing. Don't bring players in for the sake of buying them. Chelsea are the perfect example of that. I mean, Chelsea have brought in about 500 players since Todd Boehly took over, and about 5 of them are any good. They just bought players for the sake of buying them. We can't do that. We want to improve the team. That's what you have to do. Man City don't buy a lot of players, but the players they do bring in improve the team, improve the squad. Who else have we got down here? Ashida saying we have Wan-Bissaka and Delo. Yes, completely agree with that. Big T says we need a younger Casemiro to play alongside him and learn from him. Absolutely, I think Lavia could be that guy if we want to look internally at academy. I think Kobe Minu could be a very, very good prospect for Man United. Plays in that sort of deeper position. He wouldn't be a pure number 6 like Casemiro, but he's more of a box-to-box, first phase player. Very good on the dribble. Reminds me a lot, I'm sure you guys remember Moussa Dembele used to play for Tottenham. That's what Kobe Minu reminds me of. T. Jack is saying as well, I agree, if Cassie is injured, we have no one else. Absolutely. We do need replacements, and McTominay isn't good enough for a replacement. I would like to see a Lavia, someone who can fill in. I think interestingly enough, if you bought Moses Caicedo, who might be going to Chelsea, you're looking there at a guy who plays in the number 8 position, but he can cover for Casemiro as well if he's injured or needs a rest, so he could be a very good signing as well. Who else have we got down in the comments? Rajad is saying Ahmad is going to compete with Antony. He might do. There was talk of a Premier League loan, so will be interesting to see what happens there. Big T says Luke Shaw is a decent centre back for cover. Yes, I mean absolutely. I mean he did very well against Harry Kane, very well against Erling Haaland. I think that could be a good option. And Luke Shaw, I mean, we have Malacia, so if we do need to rest Martinez or he gets suspended or injured, Luke Shaw at centre back, Malacia at left back, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Who else have we got down there? Rajat says Glazers keep trying this all they ever do. They never communicate. Nope. They spoke to the fans once in 18 years, have been to about 5 matches ever since. Will says, man, I'm so depressed. Caicedo would have been the perfect centre mid. I mean, yeah, he would have been brilliant. I mean, it would depress you enough when you consider we could have had Moses Caicedo for £4 to £5 million 2 seasons ago. We didn't take that option, and now if we want him, we're looking at 90 million. I mean, it's so frustrating as well. Big T says Forest bought in 30 players for the sake of buying them. Yes, absolutely. I mean, Forest just went and bought everybody last season. Maybe Forest will buy some of our players this year. Maybe Dean Henderson, maybe Maguire. They can have McTominay too. We'll take 100 million for all three. I think that's a fair deal. For Nottingham Forest. Sheed says 500 players. Lucky Singh says BT players. Can name players for running. My choice would be Mohamed Kudus or Mason Mount. Yeah, I think Kudus would be brilliant. I think if Mason Mount genuinely goes above £15 million, I would look elsewhere. I think if we're paying more than that, why don't we try get Burrell and stop him going to Newcastle? Why don't we get Kudus? Those would be very good options for me. Who else is done there? Gavin is saying, if Glazers are going to stay, are they going to sell Jim some shares? Why don't they say and get transfers going? Because they're in negotiations with Diasi. I mean, that's what we hope. I mean, I'm hoping that in the next couple of weeks, the transfer window will not be too affected. I think it's too late now for Diasi or too late now for Radcliffe to have any real sort of an impact on the transfer window, because the budget will have been set by the time a takeover is complete. If the takeover completes tomorrow, for instance, just hypothetically, it takes 8 to 12 weeks to get it sorted. That's going to take us right into the middle of August, and at that point, transfer window's basically done. So I think what we could do, and I think it would be interesting, I actually had a friend suggest this today. I think we remember last season, whenever the Saudi Arabians took over Newcastle, what happened was, happened around September time. They went in January, they gave Eddie Howe a lot of backing, and they bought some very good players. They brought in the likes of Joe Willock, they brought in Bruno Guimaraes. Maybe we could do something similar. A big January transfer window could be on the cards for Manchester United. United Till I Die says, Glazers only care for themselves. They couldn't care less if the season starts. Not. Old Trafford could fall down in the morning. They wouldn't care. Rajad is saying Manu is more Pogba, could argue Matic, and Jellings left as well. Is United in the rail race? Maddison is going to Newcastle or Tottenham. I think Maddison probably goes to Newcastle. I think he will go there. Tottenham made a very embarrassing offer to Leicester. They offered 50 million for Maddison and Harvey Barnes, never getting that. Will is down there as well, saying I'd love Gravenberch. I think Gravenberch's a very good player, very good young player. He looked so good under Erik ten Hag at Ajax. What I would like to see from Ryan Gravenberch, maybe a loan. I think we could get him on loan from Bayern. They have a lot of top quality midfielders in there. Very difficult for a young midfielder to go in and make much of a difference. I think we could get him on loan. It would add a lot to the team. If he does really well, we could probably sign him next season. Erik ten Hag knows him. He knows Erik ten Hag. He has played in the system before. He has played in number 6 role, number 8 role, and even in the number 10 role. He's a very good dribbler, very good passer as well, and he could even score from distance. We're looking at a very versatile player, and I think Gravenberch could be very, very nice at Manchester United. United Till Die says, might have to let this window go for us because the Glazers are paying long ball. Yes, absolutely. It is the usual Glazer tactic. Grind everything down to a halt, take all the momentum out of it, and then, only then do you slowly start to do something with it. Gavin is saying Glazers are holding the club and the fans hostage. Yes, they've held us hostage for 18 years. They bought this club with a leveraged buyout. They're basically making 6 times the money they paid for the club. They had all the debt paid off for them. They also had the original loan paid off for them. So they have made a fortune off sucking the life out of this football club. And now they're going to walk off with billions into the sunset. And I can't wait. If I was Joel and Avram, I would take the money in the morning. I would go and live on a beach and I would never be seen again. But those guys aren't like that. They want all the grade. They just want to make as much money as possible. Big T says, is it wrong? I'm wondering what midfield partnership of Pogba and Casemiro would be like. Oh, man, it's frustrating because when we had Pogba and had Bruno, we just needed a top class number 6. And if we bought Casemiro 2 seasons ago, what a midfield we would have had. And now Pogba, I don't think he's ever going to be a consistent player with injuries. Very big shame. Such a talented player. Should have been the best midfielder of his generation easily. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for him, but I mean, it would have been a fun midfield. United Till I Die says, I would throw a bit at James Ward-Prowse, a great player and great free kicks in the engine room as well. I mean, Ward-Prowse not a bad player. I think United could genuinely pick up more points if we had better set pieces. We scored like 2 or 3 corners all of last season. If we had Ward-Prowse, we'd probably get more. He also down in the comments, Lucky Singh says, when they were in the transfer window, Fred, Casemiro, Mohamed Kudus, and Mason Mount. Yeah, could be good, man. Rajat, 50 million allocated for Madison alone. Leicester will take that, and United future looks bleak. Could have signed Camavinga or Chiellini before they left. Yeah, I mean, when we have the assistant manager of the time, it was Mike Phelan. And I believe it was Stephen Howson asked him. He ran into him in Manchester and he asked about the Camavinga links. And Mike Phelan told Stephen Howson that he thought, and the club thought, and Ollie thought, that Camavinga wasn't the type of player they needed, and he wasn't actually that good. And we just played McFred instead of buying Camavinga. We could have had him. And Chiellini's another one as well. I would have loved Chiellini as well. Will Buller says, do you think that the announcement could be made next week? I personally do not think so. I think we're looking at another couple of weeks for any official announcement on a sale. I think next week we could have more news towards a preferred bidder. I think maybe we could see exclusive talks begin. But I think we're still at least 8 to 12 weeks away from this being over. I'm going to take the Athletics word for it. I'm going to take Laurie Whitwell for this. Big T says, Bruno, Pogba, Casemiro with Mbappe would have been insane. Yeah, I mean, even on FIFA, that would have been insane. For Manchester United, definitely would have done bits. Rajat says Limer would have been cool as well. Yes, unfortunately, away to Bayern Munich. Bayern, of course, Bayern basically follow an old formula United had. United used to sign the best player in the Premier League. Now, Bayern just buy all the best players from their rivals. And that's how they win every Bundesliga, because they've got more money than anybody else in that league and teams have to sell. So, I mean, Bayern have a very good system. It would be interesting. I don't think we can do that in the Premier League because of the amount of money involved. You see teams asking for like 50 million for Ward-Prowse in the Championship, or West Ham looking 100 million for Declan Rice. I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. Big T says, I think the Glazers will be here at the start of August. I think so as well, unfortunately. Rajat as well, because at that time Ralph said Fred McTom was playing. Yeah, that's another one as well, unfortunately. Any more thoughts, guys? Let me know in the comments. In terms of the poll we ran at the start of the stream, we have 57% of you guys are saying yes to De Gea leaving. 43% are saying no, David De Gea should not leave. I think the ball is in his court. It's down to him as to what he wants to do. United Till I Die says, surprise United are not in for more Inter players. Some very good players at Inter. Definitely some very good players. Barella, Onana would be brilliant. I would have loved to have got Milan Skriniar. I think he would have been a good player on a free transfer. Lautaro Martinez, potentially a good striking option there as well. Some very good players. You do not get the Champions League final without having good players in the team, for sure. Daniel says, is it true Mason Greenwood is back? Now, in terms of any official negotiation, any official investigation, no. Absolutely not. Not yet. What we do know is that he has been retained by Manchester United. So that means he is still a contracted player. He is just not involved in any training. He is not allowed at the training facilities. He will not be in any match day squads until the investigation is finished. Now, how long this investigation is going to take, I do not know, but I'm sure at some point we will find out the information on that one. Jake is saying, this is the first time I saw the channel, although we are very few, you do very good, and if you don't care, you got my subscription. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate all the support. Anybody else considering hitting that sub button, we are very close to 1,000 subscribers, a really big milestone for me, and the channel community is growing. Much more content coming up, of course. Who else have we got? Will is asking, what would be my ideal summer transfer window? This is a good one, and we'll extend that question. Everybody else, what's the ideal transfer window for you guys? I'm going to go for Diogo Costa, goalkeeper. I'm going to say, I'll keep it realistic. So Diogo Costa, Rasmus Hojlund, Mason Mount, Adrian Rabiot, and will we say Urian Timber maybe? I think that makes us a lot better. I think that could be really good for that one. Big T says, I used to think all Brazilians could shoot, and then Fred happened. Yeah, I mean, Fred Fred, I mean, come on, man. I actually remember there was a match. I think Fred actually scored a goal, and Ollie was laughing because Fred never scores. I think he's got like 7 goals across his United career. Not a lot. He also got Big T says, good decision. Welcome to the community. Thank you very much for that one, man. Big T, great supporter of the channel and the community as well. Lucky Singh says, Roma, please look at Maguire, ideal player in their system. Urian Timber for United. Yes, I would love Urian Timber. I think the only issue we have is physicality there, because Urian Timber is 5'10", Lissandro Martinez is 5'9". I mean, we'd be asking Casemiro to do a lot of heading. The guy would have a very sore head, very sore knees from having to defend the box all the time. I personally think Axel Diasi could be a very interesting player. Very young French centre-back, currently playing for Monaco. Could be a brilliant player to bring in. He was, according to Romano, at the start of the transfer window, going to be the plan B, the backup option. So whether he comes in or not, it will be interesting to see. Any more thoughts, guys? Get them into the comments as well. And keep on voting on the poll. 57% of you guys are saying yes to De Gea leaving, and 43% are saying no. Very split vote on tonight's poll. United side that is saying Kim, Barella, Hojlund, Rabiot, and if we have enough money, get Onana. That could be brilliant. Rajat says Roma got Ndeka and Smalling. They don't need Maguire. I mean, maybe Jose wants to play 3 at the back. I don't know. Hopefully. That could be. Rajat saying 25, not very young. Have I misread Diasi's age? Why did I think he was 22? I don't know. If he actually is 25, I mean, he's still coming into his prime. I thought it was 22. I wasn't wearing my glasses, so apologies for that. For that there one. He also done the comment as well. I'm very bad with names, as you guys know. We've got Surin Kuma. Surin Kuma says, tell us something about the takeover saga. When are Qataris taking over? So Qatar, as we know, they are entering into negotiations. Now, the negotiations are going to be for exclusive bidding with the Glazer family. This has been confirmed by Reuters, been confirmed by RMC today. Yesterday, we had information come out, and it basically said that Qatar had become the preferred bidder due to the complex nature of Jim Ratcliffe's bid and the fact that Sheikh Jassim is offering the money up front. And that's something that's happened for the last couple of weeks. When he wanted to walk away last week, the Glazers took it very, very seriously, because all along, the Glazers' plan has been, we'll get Ratcliffe to bid, and then Qatar will bid more. And then we get Qatar to bid, and Ratcliffe will bid more. And all of a sudden, the bids are going up and up and up and up. But if one of those parties walks away, then the whole game ends for the Glazer family. And that's what they're worried about. Now, several members, Brian, Darcy, Edward, all want out of the club 100%. Joel and Avram were the 2 Glazers really looking to stay on. And now all of a sudden, they're more open to selling the club in its entirety. So that's basically the update. That is the most up-to-date information we have on that one. Ashade is saying Mount, Hojlund, Kim Min-Jae, Rabiot, Onana as a summer transfer window. I like the look of that. Big T says, would you entertain Matthias Jensen from Brentford? Matthias Jensen would be an interesting player. I think he would be quite good. I've seen him at Brentford. I think he does play well for them. Whether he's United quality, I'm not 100% sure. I think Brentford has some very good players. I actually think Brian Mbeumo was a good player. I've always rated him at Brentford. Antony would be a very good striker for United if he came in. Obviously, the ban would definitely impact on any potential signing of Tony. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. Rajat says good 7.5 window will be Costa, goalkeeper, Hojlund, Axel, and Kim at centre-back, Rabiot and Hojlund. That could be a good one. And Mount as well. Will is saying probably won't happen, but I think we could swoop in last second to seal Caicedo from Chelsea. It would take a lot of money. I don't know if we have the money on hand at the moment. I think what we'll want to do is sign the key player. I think we want that striking position. I think Mount at 50 million and potentially a striker at 50 million. Have a sale on Dale Henderson, buy a goalkeeper. There's 3 players done. And then if we sell Maguire, McTominay, Van de Beek, Telles, Eric Bailly, Brandon Williams, then maybe we're looking at another player coming in as well. Hopefully a centre-back at that time. Maybe get Rabiot on a free, maybe get somebody else on a free. I think that is a real potential option. Wally is saying as well, are the Glazers not selling the club anymore because it can affect United's transfer window? They will still be selling the club. I think we can rest assured on that. I think they will still be selling the club regardless, but it definitely is affecting the transfer window. If Sheikh Jassim or Radcliffe had bought us over by now, they could have invested some money into the club. We are working with what we have. It is unfortunate, but hopefully we can still get what we need. Lucky is saying, Lavia, Rabio, Casemiro, Fred, not a bad midfield. Absolutely not. Swap Martial and Sancho for Caicedo. I mean, maybe. Todd Bowley would probably take that if Caicedo went to Chelsea in the first place. Lucky Singh saying first sell Sancho, McTominay, Maguire, Martial, Alex Telles, and Eric Bailly. Thank you very much. And Rajat says that's a great game from the Glazers' point of view. I mean, yeah, it's making them guys billions. It's a great game for them. That's all they've only cared about is money. Okay, guys. So with that in mind, if anybody if anybody wants to join in with the community, please consider hitting that sub button. Really helps me out, helps the channel grow. Love and appreciate all the support from you guys. I'm going to leave the stream here. My voice is going. So thank you very much for watching, guys. And I will see you guys all tomorrow as well.